guitar gently weeps. Look at the floor and I see it needs sweeping. Still my guitar gently weeps. I don't know why.
Welcome to the second hour of Authentic News, where I take your calls right here on RBN Live, the 7th day of April, 2021. Peter from LA, delighted to have you here, my friend. Join the conversation, Peter.
Well, I'd like to make I'd like to ask some of the fanboys, the Trump fanboys, who complain that nobody criticized Biden. I criticize the hell out of the Biden. That I want to hear them criticize Trump, for Christ's sake. How's your 401k look? How's your 401k looking?
Yeah, I know.
Huh?
I know.
How's everybody's 401k looking? Can he make many enemies can he make them any faster than he is? Is he driving people into bricks? Can he drive them any faster? Can he drive Russia and China even closer together, even quicker? We know he's slowed down and he's underperformed on the border. You know, I mean, he's way behind what we hoped that he would be there. How about are we losing our freedom of speech? Can we do it any faster?
Good point, Peter.
And now he's
good point.
I'm sure he's sitting there right there today. And I hope that all the fanboys, you know who you are, Miles, and you know who you are, Florida. You know.
Yeah, everyone knows who they are. Yeah,
we know who they are. They talk about nobody criticizing Biden. Nobody criticized him more than me. But nevertheless, what about this guy here? You know, we were supposed to have peace in the Ukraine. You know what? He hasn't. He stopped the arms shipments for like 3 days and put them back on. We're no closer there at all. What we have done is chase the Europeans away even faster. But we chased the Europeans away as well. Who haven't we chased away? I mean, look, is anybody own any 401k or stocks that aren't in the toilet? He's impoverishing everybody.
Yeah.
Both for rights, and now he wants to send us to war. He's brinksmanshipping, and all these countries that, as you went over earlier, and anybody with any military sense at all, and not just their grandfather or their dad, or I knew somebody, but real military sense would know that we can't go up against these guys, and yet he's brinksmanshipping with all of them, with China, with Russia, and with Iran. I know who for? Guess who for? Not for you and me. We're impoverished, and we're going to fight the wars for his owners. For the guy, he's probably making the bed for Bibi Netanyahu and brushing the dandruff off of his collar. If he's not unzipping his fly.
I know. I've been wondering what forms of deference he was going to be showing to Netanyahu, Bibi the Butcher. It's just so awful, Peter. And here he is hosting him in the White House when the man's committing genocide in Gaza. I mean, I can't stomach it. It's outrageous.
Jim, did you see where the U.S. response is that it was all of the Palestinians' fault for those 15 slaughtered medical workers? It was all their fault.
God.
That's our official response. I sent it to you 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, but unbelievable, Peter, unbelievable.
What's your guess? Is he unzipping Bibi's fly or unbuttoning it? Which one do you think it is, buttons or zipper?
I know. You got it right.
Get these idiots to talk about it instead of please give me something substantial. Have the nuts to come on and criticize somebody when they're wrong.
Yes.
What the hell?
And we all agree that Kamala and Waltz would have been intolerable. We all agree that it was right to put Trump and Vance in there, but we expect them to live up to their campaign promises, which are violating right and left, Peter. Right and left.
Listen, this guy is worse on a lot of things. And you know what? The difference between he and the ridiculous, senile Biden is like minuscule now. At least Biden didn't ruin your 401k. Biden's not going to go to war with Iran. He managed to get out of that one. What the hell? Biden, was bad on free speech. Trump's worse.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time arguing with you, Peter. You're making a lot of telling points.
They can't argue it either. They'll give that crap about, hey, look, he's supposed to be working for us, not unzipping Bibby's fly.
Yeah. I'm not happy. I find it absolutely revolting. Repulsive really is the right word, to see him sitting with Netanyahu in the Oval Office of the White House in the capital of the United States of America, feting a genocidal maniac, and in fact doing deference to him by providing him the weapons to kill these innocent women, children, Palestinians who own the land. Peter, it is truly unforgivable.
Well, listen, we know who elected him. We know Miriam Adelson and all the big Zionist Jews that elected him. And by the way, the same different group of Zionist Jews that elected Biden. They're all alone completely. But we know once this guy's a one-term guy, at least by the Constitution, which doesn't appear to mean anything to Trump at all. But what the time to do is after he was elected, when they were telling him to appoint morons like Headspace or morons like the National Security Advisor. What he just said, listen, I'm sorry. Thank you very much for your help. I'm going to appoint my own guys. He's doing the same thing that happened to him last time when he was undercut by everybody. It's like he hasn't learned a thing, except maybe, is it a button or is it a zipper? I mean, that's all. He hasn't learned anything from appointing these guys. And he could have said no. What would they have done?
Cutting off the weapons that flow to Ukraine, I thought was so sensational. I thought we really were at a turning point. But then he reversed it. Yeah. You got it, Peter. You got it. When you're right, you're right.
Well, I just want to hear, criticize all these other people for not having and you know what? I criticize people for what's not to criticize about Biden, for Christ's sake, or the Democrats. But when these guys are running us into ruin, financial ruin, eviscerating our civil rights and the Bill of Rights, and running us up to war, our catastrophic foreign policy, well, how about a little criticism, right? How about just a little?
Yeah, I'm with you, Peter. I'm with you. Give me a final thought, my friend.
Well, I've said about all I can say right now but be a responsible consumer of the politics of the United States and lay some blame on everybody. There's plenty to go around. And this guy, he's getting ever closer to the low bar of Biden. Ever closer every day.
Peter, thanks. Good stuff.
All righty.
Thank you, my friend. Lauren of Ohio, welcome back, Lauren. Long time. Join the conversation.
Well, you're not going to like what I've got to say, but there's nobody to blame. Why are you blaming them? Whose responsibility is it for you to take your children and give them a real education? You can't blame the schools. You know that they got a bunch of pervert Satanists in there teaching them not even how to read cursive or read, or they're teaching them Obama math, and you know it, and you're still putting them there. So what's the point of screaming about the school board or yelling about the school president or going to the school council meeting? What's the point? You know what's going on. You're just going along. So let's stop blaming other people. You see the stock market crashing? If you listen to God, gold, silver, land, cattle, that's money. That's all it's money. So if you put your money in paper that somebody else was holding, I mean, that's your fault. You're stupid. And I mean, I've done it. I'm just saying how it is. I've lost money in the stock market. I've done all the stupid things I'm telling you. I've done them all. But hard heads make for soft behinds. And I was tired of getting my butt whooped. So I just said, well, how about I just do the thing that works? How about I just yield to the truth and respect it and do that thing instead of doing whatever these men, these doctors in white coats telling me to take a COVID shot, these teachers telling me to put my children in school so that my children can fence with men. My daughters can fence with men and swim with men and have them in the locker room. And it's something so blatant as I competed as a man, but I suck. And the thing is, if you come in third, you don't even suck. He's just decided, well, I just want, and everybody's letting him get away with it. It's our fault for going along with the lie. Because, see, in a minute, if we decided we weren't going to go along with that lie, what do you think would happen? What kind of changes do you think you would see in a minute if you behaved in a different manner? But every time I call and talk about this stuff, somebody calls up, well, everybody doesn't want to grow a garden. Well, everybody doesn't want to educate their children. Well, then don't. But don't complain about it. Your kids are all screwed up, tattooed, pierced, whored out, killing their babies. Yes?
No, I just wondered if you had any reaction to the latest developments, in the news from the first hour. I just wondered if you had any thoughts.
Yeah. That's why I was talking about the children. They can't get jobs. There's not opportunities for them, and there's not going to be. If you train your children to learn homeschool, they can learn anything, and they will conform to whatever they need to fit in. Like I made mine be naturopathic doctors because I understood they were going to use biowarfare. So you always have work, and people can pay you directly, and nobody can stop you from performing your service or get in between you when you're trying to get paid. That's why they want to get rid of income tax, because they want to have that universal tax when you swipe your hand. When they scan your chip, you don't even need a chip. If you took the shot, you're already chipped. But if they do that, they get in between you and your resource. So they take their 30% or whatever, and you can't do anything about it. But if you're working and someone hands you the money, there's nobody in your way. So what I'm saying is there's a way to do things and win, and it's not any of the things we're doing right now. So if we don't change the way we educate our children, they're going to keep getting dumped. And actually, it's over. This is the fourth turning. They're going to take us over. We're in the place where the Indians were. You're going to get what the Indians got. Think feather, not dot. So that's where we are right now. The only thing we can do to save ourselves is respect the truth. And that means when you have a boy, a man, trying to compete against women, you do what that young girl did. And the girl shouldn't have had to do it. Her mama and daddy should have done it. Okay, when they said boys were going to be on the team with their daughter, they should have said, hell no. And all the girls quit the team, make another team that is specifically all girl, if you have to put that in. And if they say, oh, well, we won't give you money from the government, like Princeton. You were talking, my sister went to Princeton. Guess what? If you can't protest murder, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, if they bow the knee to Trump and get the money, you know what's going to happen? The kids are going to voluntarily stop going to the schools. Because, see, the kids have a future. They're stuck here for another 50 years. All us older people, we've lived our life. We've had our fun. But they don't have the opportunities we have. And they don't want any more lies. They don't want any more feel-good talk. They want some food in their belly. They want a warm place to sleep at night. They want to be able to get married and have some children before they're 45 and 50 years old. So they're going to go to the truth. And when they see that my children could have gone to college free. Okay, my dad left a trust, and they could have gone to any college they wanted free of charge. But they didn't go because they understand the colleges don't teach you anything unless you're their specific thing, architecture. Okay, you need the math, you need the, even medical school to cut up bodies. You got to, you aren't going to do that on the side on your own. I don't know, you could if you get some of them bodies they're finding all over Mexico. Anyway, But the gist of it is we have all the power. And if you look at what's happening right now, they're trying to scare the crap out of us. This is Trump, Putin, and Netanyahu all working together to empty out the United States coffers and break us down so they can then sell us off to BlackRock. And what I'm saying is if we just get our wits about us and remember who's the boss, we are. This is our country. That Federal Reserve, all the money that they are generating through fraud is fraud. You don't owe that money. It's odious debt. Cancel that $37 trillion. And on top of it, take the resources of any BlackRock, any of these criminals, any of the NGOs, take the resources. They've done all these criminal activities. Take the resources, cut off the power. And that's all we have to do. But and then can I just tell you this one thing? Cliff High, if you've never listened to Cliff High, very interesting man. He uses computers and the language and the energy of the language. He said, you're going to start seeing the wholesale slaughter of Arabs. And he said he thinks it's going to start in Ireland. And he said, I'm talking bodies in the street. He said there's this huge release language. And what it is those Arabs have been running around, raping these girls and stuff. Now they're going to hit the wall, and they're just going to go out and take care of it because they're criminal, like Keir Starmer and all these criminal government leaders. I know he's Britain, but they are doing things to destroy the white race. And the whites are finally going to realize, like what I'm telling you, get your children out of school. Quit giving your money to paper investments in companies that are buying up and destroying your own infrastructure. And then the other one was that you're going to see attacks on synagogues. He said they're going to attack synagogues, like drive trucks in them, all kind of crazy stuff. And he said they're going to grab rabbis and anybody that looks Jewish till they start shaving their beards and, matching the American look. That's how bad it's going to get. He said it's going to be. He said it's going to blow up, and then it's going to go down. But if you're caught out in it, it's like when the George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter riots. If you were caught out in it, you were a beat to death white boy.
Lord, I missed that. Who's going to grab the rabbis and shave off their beards? Who's going to do that?
The people. He said the people are going to start rising up because what they've set up is the Muslims versus the Christians versus the Jews. They want that whole fight. That was the, late 1890s, Albert Pike, 3 world wars. The third one, they want the religions fighting. So they're going to bring out the aliens. Oh, look, there can't be Christianity if there's aliens. Well, you might want to read the Bible. All the stuff about giants and wheels within wheels and things coming down. I mean, come on, man. It's not a different thing. It's just a thing that's always been here that they've kept quiet. Now they're going to let that out of the bag, but they want the Muslims to fight the Jews, to fight the Christians. Here we are in America cheering for foreigners. We're cheering for the Houthis to stop the Americans and the Israelis from killing all those Christians and Muslims and Jews in Gaza. And so what I'm saying is there's this point at which there's a shame and that helplessness turns to rage. And you have to do something. Because if you don't move, you're going to die. And when
Final thought, Lord, we're hitting the break. Give me a final thought.
The final thought is we need to respect the truth. We need to respect our neighbors. We need to stop obeying illegitimate authority. Quit giving them money. Stop paying taxes to these people. They're not using the money to help you. Stop letting them have access to your children. And turn off the TV and the cell phone, all the crap from the media warping your mind, and just start looking at what you see in front of you. What you see Trump doing in supporting Israel and supporting murder and trying to get us into war with Iran, focus on that.
Lord,
not
thank
what he
you.
said. Okay,
thanks, Lord. Thanks a lot. We'll be right back.
Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where a wedding has been. Lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for?
Welcome back, Miles from Maine. Lay on, Miles. You're on the air.
Well, I hope you had a good weekend there, Jim. I hope you enjoyed your beer.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did, Miles.
Well, hey, I just wanted to comment. It's a shame. I've always gotten along with Peter, but I don't understand what he's saying. I mean, I've said all throughout, ever since this started, that I like Trump's domestic policy, but I don't agree with any of these wars or any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where I've always been. Maybe Peter wasn't listening to that. I don't know. But, I'm usually always, when Peter says something, I'm usually always in agreement with just about all that he says. And I've been the first one that has said hold Trump's feet to the fire. And when I disagree with him, that's what I do. I mean, I don't support any of these wars or any of this foreign policy stuff.
Yeah, my inference would be he wasn't directing that toward you.
Oh no, he said my name. He said my name. He said my name directly. He said my name directly. He said Miles and these Trump people. He didn't mention Tom or any of these other people that support Trump. He directed sincerely toward me.
Don't worry about it.
No,
not a big thing. You and I basically, I agree with a lot of what he's doing domestically, with the exception of cracking down on free speech, but almost nothing he's doing in terms of foreign policy. And he's feeding the butcher right now in the White House, Miles.
Yeah. No, I understand. But let's not go to free speech, because if Peter or anybody agreed with free speech, they wouldn't have agreed with Joe getting banned from Tennessee. So that's my comment.
I don't want you to bring
I got it, but
it's not worth it.
Well,
it's a waste of time. That's a dead issue, Miles. I don't like bringing it back up.
No, but it's hypocritical for someone to say that one person is against free speech because Trump took the action he did while they do the same thing. I get it, but it's hypocritical for someone else to comment like that. Secondly, the 401k is tied to the stock market, which is a Ponzi scheme. The stock market is up and down and up and down. I didn't hear him applaud Trump when the stock market was roaring when Trump was in his first term, right? Do you agree?
Look, Miles, Peter did kind of open the door because he was criticizing other callers who are too one-sided in their praise for Trump and not criticism. You're clearly not in that camp.
I'm not one-sided. I'm very fair about criticizing Trump when it's due.
You're clearly not in that category, Miles. I'm saying that. I'm agreeing with you.
Well, thank you. Good, because I go with what's right and what's not wrong is what's wrong. I don't care who it is. I could care less who they are, what race, color, religion, or anything. Right is right and wrong is wrong. As my grandfather taught us, right is right and truth is truth. Okay, so that's all I'm saying on that.
Give us a response to the issues. What's going on now?
I want to continue on. So first of all, Trump's been there with helping the stock market go up, and he'll do it again. He put these tariffs. He had the guts to put these tariffs on, which I think in the long run is going to reap benefits for us. It's going to bring back jobs. It's going to help the economy. It's probably even going to help wages. I would say it's going to help our supply line. Okay, Trump shut down the DEI. Trump brought on Doge. Trump brought on Trump put an end to this trannyism nonsense and all these other things. So I think that's unfair when a caller like that calls in and makes those directions and then directs them at callers. That's a very cheap shot by Peter, by the way, to say that about the Trump people, because a lot of the Trump supporters still criticize Trump when it's right. Sure, there's a few that don't. But, that's my comment toward that. Now, what were you asking me to comment on?
Just any of the developments. I spent an hour going through the news, right? I'm surprised sometimes when there's no comment about any of the stories, the latest developments, or new ones. Tom intermittently brings up new ones that are just breaking that I don't know of yet. Go ahead, Miles.
Well, no, I can comment on those, too. I just took the ones that were directed toward me, in an insulting fashion first. okay, because that should have never happened. But, with the Marie Le Pen, what we're seeing is we're seeing that go on all over the world, and I'm wondering why now suddenly it seems like Viktor Orban could be changing his direction.
I'm shocked by that. Honestly, I'm very disappointed in Viktor Orban. I thought he had more spine than that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking at, those kind of issues. And how they're doing this, like with Le Pen. That's how they did against Trump. That's probably how they'll come out, because this is a globally led, initiative, I guess you would say, where they look at the conservative or they look at the nationalist or whatever you might like to call it, and that's their way of bringing opposition to them through this lawfare and all these different things. And I think that that's got to end, and people got to stand up and speak up.
No, hang on, I'm going to hold you over for a final thought, Miles.
I want the truth. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy.
Okay, Miles, for a wrap, a final thought.
Well, in the final analysis, I think Trump's going to realize that war is not the answer to any of this, and hopefully it's going to be before any missiles or anything that would escalate into that direction happens. But, Trump gets a lot of bad advice, like he had Kellogg feeding him bad advice. And what was the first thing that Adam Schiff said? He said, we're going to intentionally give Trump bad advice and not inform him, and we've watched that happen. So I'm hoping that those things will be corrected, that Trump sharpens up his game, and that Trump realizes it. And, until Trump does something, right now, all he's done is talk. I mean, he's really not doing a lot. He's supporting this by giving aid or whatever and that type of thing towards this the war, but he hasn't really, stepped off and done anything. He sent the planes and that different stuff to Diego, whatever the heck it was.
Garcia. Yeah,
Garcia. But that's all. I mean, we haven't seen him really doing a lot with the U.S. In terms of trying to getting people there, committing troops or anything like that. So in that effort, I think thank goodness that's going on. But I think in the end, Trump is going to see that's not the way. And I think he will, with the right, advice from his advisors, I think he'll realize, that it's not the right way to go.
Thanks, Miles. Good stuff. Gabriel. Yeah, thank you. Gabriel in Arkansas. Gabriel, join the conversation. Welcome back.
Thank you. Trump is complicit related to a bunch of major crimes against both Americans and humanity as a whole. And it's amazing because right now Trump is one of the worst criminals on the planet, our president. And so one of the things Trump is complicit with is these illegal fires being started illegally by advanced energy weapons against the American people. Then he's also complicit with the illegal way these fires are being handled and covered up. And now Professor Fetzer, last Friday morning on the Raw Deal, you did an interview. I want to say the gentleman's name was Paul, if I can recall, and I'd like you to make a few comments about that.
Oh, well, that was about the fires in Lahaina and the Pacific Palisades, and he had a lot of good stuff there, including a cat which had been walking. It was just, it turned to charcoal as it was walking. I mean, it's perfectly formed. And my impression is it's all the water is taken out of the body at an instant. And it's extraordinarily disconcerting. Yeah, he's doing really good research. He was talking about plasma effects as well as directed energy. They're not quite the same. I'm not sure I've got enough grip on it to be definitive about their differences. But I thought it was an excellent presentation. Your thoughts, Gabriel?
Well, they're using different types of energy weapons. So they have some that have a plasma-like effect, and then they have other ones that have more of a microwave, a wave type of energy effect that seems like they're heating them up from the inside out. And you can notice that some of these weapons are being used on the World Trade Center, reducing it to very fine dust, and then other ones are being used to start fires in the forests, while other energy weapons are able to target houses and cars and not burn the forest. So I think that we're looking at different energy weapons, and they were even talking about the lasers and different color lasers that are being used. And a really good YouTube channel to check out if you want to find out more. There's a YouTube channel called Brush Junkie, and they actually get into the different lasers and color lasers and stuff like that.
Yeah, since you bring up 9/11, I'm not convinced the U.S. Geological Survey found a host of elements after studying 35 samples from lower Manhattan dust samples. Barium, lithium, lanthanum, tritium, some of which only occur in radioactive form that appeared to be present only because it had been a nuclear event. And then we have this vast underground heat that takes months to cool down. I don't see how directed energy could have done that. I favor mini nuke hypothesis, which can explain, I think, all of the effects. But I respect those who contend to use or other directed enemy. Go ahead, Gabriel. Give us a little more.
Well, with 9/11, you take a gentleman like John Lear, rest in peace. He passed away, I believe it was last year. The grandfather of conspiracies. Now, he said that, like the same thing you said. He said that they used little miniature bombs like micro nukes or whatever. But then he says after that, though, it was actually hit with an energy weapon that reduced it into even finer dust. So he said that they used several types of weapons and explosives.
It's possible. I allow that. I'm open to that. Anything else, Gabriel? What else you got?
Well, we've got, you can't try to gloss Trump over, I'm just talking in general, as any kind of a good guy. He's also complicit related to COVID-19, which is highly illegal. It was highly unconstitutional. Even Congress now acknowledges at this point that COVID-19 was not only man-made, but was funded by American taxpayer dollars. The American people were lied to and illegally and unconstitutionally locked down under under his first administration. And now he's president again, and he remains complicit related to the entire COVID deal. Trump stating, and I quote, Dr. Fauci is a very good person. And we got to remember that this is a businessman that we're talking about here. And I believe that he sold the American people out. And really now, during his second term, Trump is only increasing his illegal, unconstitutional activities compared to his first presidency. He's also complicit related to an arrest warrant that was issued for Netanyahu by the International Criminal Court. Trump defies the International Criminal Court by not only continuing to support Netanyahu, but by also continuing to support the very crimes that resulted in the arrest warrant. And let's be clear, these are crimes against humanity. Trump continues to support both militarily and financially. Trump is now considered an enemy of humanity. This is very serious. And so people that call in and defend him, be very careful. Do your homework and look very carefully at what this man is doing and what you're defending because, be very, very careful. This is very bad stuff. I'm telling you to be very careful.
You argued your case very well, Gabriel. Thanks for that. Joe in Florida. Joe, join the conversation.
Hey, Jim, how are you? How you doing today? Can you hear me?
Good. Go for it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I have an opinion about what you talk.
Say again. You have an opinion about the
opinion
rest of
about the news. I have an opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
The news in the first hour. What a shocker! So here's the thing. The news, and maybe didn't cover this, but I know you covered the area. So the thing that I saw on RT just now. So Netanyahu makes a suggestion to Trump in the Oval Office, which I'll get back to in a second, for a quote Libya-like plan in relation to Iran. So apparently, this is a scheme that this satanic Jewish terrorist who somehow got into the White House is saying to Donald Trump, oh, let's have a Libya plan, right? What is the Libya plan? Okay, or to me, it's like the Iraq plan. Oh, it's a no-fly zone, or we're going to go in and inspect for nuclear weapons, right? Now, if this is not the scam of all scams, we know the way this works out. Okay, why do they do this? They do this because they know Iran, first of all, they know it doesn't have a nuclear weapon. They know that for a fact. They know that Iran will not strike as the first strike because Iran, whatever else you could criticize them for, they are not psychopaths, okay? They will not strike the United States first. And, and they won't actually, I don't think they would strike Israel first. When they attacked Israel last summer, it was in response. So what do these Jews, Netanyahu and his puppets in the government, like Mike Waltz and these other Jews, and Jew-like people like Rubio and these other so-called neocons who are all crypto-Jews, what do? They need to invent a scheme whereby it's going to look like Iran is the one that's taking the action, and then, we just have to respond. You see, they flip it, right? Because if we go in with some kind of a regime inspecting Iran and yada, 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 I don't know how it could actually happen, but let's say this is... What happens then? We found out that Iran is violating the terms of this inspection regime. Therefore, they're the ones taking the action. So we have to, quote, defend against it. This is what the Jew always does, right? Always the victim. Always the victim. You cannot allow it to be seen for what it is, which is Iran has not the slightest interest in starting a war or attacking the United States. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And when he's over here, he's going to try to manipulate Trump into doing something treacherous in relation to Iran. I have no doubt at all. You're right, Joe.
Yeah, now here's the thing about Netanyahu, the war criminal. Yes, I am outraged to see a picture of him in the Oval Office getting a pat on the back from the President of the United States. But guess what? I would be outraged by any president doing that, okay? The problem, and this relates to what's been the conversation before. Look, you and I and Peter and other of us, right, supporters of Trump, right, did we ever say we don't have a right to criticize him when we supported him? Of course not. Listen, I'll tell you this. I voted for Ralph Nader in 2004. I voted in the Republican Party in 2012 for the great Ron Paul, okay? And so I have a history, because the issue of war is primary. Okay, I'm a Republican, okay? But the issue of war is primary. And guess what? If Donald Trump signs on to a war for the Jews, it's not you and me and Peter and other Trump supporters who have reversed our position. It's him who's reversed his position, because his promise was explicitly to be anti-war. So I'm a big fan still of President Trump. I'm grateful. Listen, there was no way you couldn't vote for Kamala Harris. But if he signs on to the war, guess what? I'll be the first one to call him Genocide Don. Okay? If he's going to aid and abet a war for the Jews that's going to destroy humanity, then we got to get rid of him, just like we got rid of Joe Biden.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Good stuff. Final thought?
Yeah, the last final thought is, so Sunday we start the holiest week in the Christian calendar, Palm Sunday and then Holy Week. And I think we have to look, this is my belief, right? We look at the people who killed Jesus, the Christ killers, and the scripture tells us they are the enemies of the entire human race. What was true then is true in 2025. I don't hate Jewish people, but I know who they are. I love the Jews because Jesus told me we have to love our enemies. We have to know who the enemy is. We cannot allow them, no matter who the president is, to lead us into a war, which will be absolutely horrifying destruction. And so I'm praying for that. But God bless, Jim. Thank you.
A lot of good stuff there, Joe. A lot. Thanks. Tom in Florida joined the conversation. Thank you, Joe. Tom.
Wow. Hey, good day, Jim. Good day to everybody. There's a lot to unpack here. I got to say, by the way, Jim, what's really sad is Dennis Menace has left the building. Dennis the Menace. We don't have Dennis no more. He was a great character actor. Peter, what was his name? Jay North. Yeah, Jay North passed away. That's really sad.
The child actor died. Okay.
Jay North. He was a good. He played that part wonderfully. He was a good man. And Jim, by the way, you remember the Andy Griffith show and when America was really a beautiful place, and they want to tear down rebel statues, Confederate statues, and we allowed this to happen. But we cannot allow this anymore. You're going to put those damn statues back. Now, Jim, you had two calls that called in, Gabriel and Joe, and I think Joe should put on some 12-ounce gloves with Benny Netanyahu. On his gloves, you have the Christian cross, and on Netanyahu, you have the Star of David, and I'll referee the fight. Make it 8 ounces. What the hell, 8-ounce gloves?
I like that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, Miles made a call that was kind of what's right is right and what is wrong is wrong. I have to agree on that. Absolutely. And that's how I was raised. But, here we go again. Trump is not the greatest president as far as what you would want him to be, a utopia. Like communism is supposed to be a wonderful thing. It's called utopia. There's no such thing, okay? We just got to play for what we've got. What we got right now is a guy compared to a crazy, insane, laughing, giggling monster that would have got us into World War III probably already, or otherwise we'd have had 5 million illegals in here within this 90-day, 80-day time frame.
Yeah.
So we got to give him credit there. Now, as far as the Middle East, I've already told you how I felt. I say let the Jews kill each other and Arabs kill each other. Let them do it. We don't need no Christian men to spill a drop of blood in that Middle East. And I told that to Joe, and I tell that to Gabriel. Now, Gabriel is absolutely right about Fauci. What Trump did there, he should have reversed course, and he said this was a man-made event made by these Chinese, along with the globalists, to cut down the world population. You got Bill Gates going out there saying the world should be down to 500 million people. That was all big. Gates was all over there for years talking about that. Well, why didn't he kill his kids? Why didn't he ever have kids with his wife? Why did he abort all those kids? Bill Gates. And he's going to cut them down to $10 million on their will. Instead of each $100 million, which the wife's going to give him. He divorced his first wife. So, we've got these billionaire criminals like Soros not been arrested. I'd love to see Trump. Really want to show me some, Donald Trump? You go arrest George Soros for the pandemonium that guy's causing this country alone, let alone Europe and the Middle East. George Soros should be arrested at all costs. I don't care if you got to send in 500 Delta Force special forces to get that guy and criminally charge him for the mischief he has done to this country. Now, we've got to go back. We got to go back to what these guys are talking about. I understand Gabriel's frustration. I really do. And he does make some points that, perplex me. Okay? Fauci. How Fauci's getting this giant, massive pension. Fauci should be arrested right now. Fauci should be arrested right now, and that pension should be stripped of him and his wife. They're living on almost $1 million a year pension. How would you like to have that kind of money, Jim? $1 million a year
Tom,
to stay home on your ass.
The catch is, we know Fauci needs to be arrested. I've got 3 other callers I got to try to work in, Tom. So go, just get a concise. Okay. Give us concise.
Well, I'm going to give you some concise right now. The German people in Germany elected the ADF. And guess what? They're not being responded to. So you know what? They just pulled even now with the Christian party in Germany. So I have a funny feeling in the next 2 years, the Germans' right wing is going to take over that whole government. And I believe it's going to happen in France.
Thanks, Tom.
Miles was talking about Macron. I think she's going to win. she's going to win her case. And I believe the Supreme Court is right now with Pam Bondi. I think before Pam Bondi and Cash Patel are done, you're going to see a lot of people arrested. They criminally to be charged for treason against this country. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Renee, normally I'd have more time, but I don't. Just a few minutes. Go right ahead, Renee.
Okay. I guess maybe we're just nitwits. Maybe I was just not smart enough to understand that King Daddy Trump is a stable genius and he's playing 5D chess. And I guess me and Gabriel and Peter, we just too unintelligent to see it. Listen, people, this guy, while did not go meet the military transfer of those 4 bodies that were coming back that's usually traditionally done, because he was playing golf, okay? Now, this is interesting. I just saw in the news today, do you know that's why we're going to war? Mr. Bone Spurs, calling people in the military losers with his 5 deferments, is planning for his 79th birthday a North Korean-style military parade that will cost millions. Yeah, right after.
Renee, are we talking about, did Trump have 5 deferments?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of them was that cookie.
Go ahead.
He had 5 deferments. And the thing is, and one of them he paid, the daughter came forward and then said that, yes, his daddy paid her doctor father for that whole Bone Spurs thing, okay? That was one of his deferments, okay? So the thing is, he called people who served in the military, losers and stuff, but then he has this vision of himself, because he's delusional, as some great military person where he's actually planning in June to have one of those fancy, costing us millions, military parades for his 79th birthday. I saw that coming out today. He's been wanting this for years. He's crazy, okay? He's just crazy.
I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't know why people can't see it.
I don't think it's a good idea under these circumstances to have that type of parade. I think it's a bad idea. I'm with you.
It's terrible. And the thing is, when you want to have a military parade for yourself where you're standing over and watching all the tanks and stuff, when you didn't go, you spoke ill of those who did, and you can't go meet the bodies of those 4 dead people that they just shipped back. Okay, because you're playing golf. And remember how everybody used to cut down Obama and Biden for playing golf? It seems like Trump's and we have to pay millions of dollars in Secret Service to go back and forth for all this golf playing and all this guarding him and stuff. The thing is, when people are watching their 401ks and the stock market go to hell, he's playing in the golf tournament, and he says he won. Don't you know all these people that are playing against him, and they know how he is? They're going, oops, lousy me, I shot it into the rough. They're losing on purpose. Give me a break.
Renee. Yeah, good stuff, Renee. I got 2 others. I'm not going to be able to get them both, John. John in Michigan, go ahead. Join the conversation, John.
Well, thanks, Jim. This president has only been in office for a little bit. He's still being inundated with sleeper cells within the government, and he's meeting with Netanyahu. Well, he went to military school from the time he was 13 till he was 18. So if he didn't have, I got deferred too because of a car accident I was in. If he had spurs, and Iran, they don't deal with the Rothschilds. That's why they're the boogeyman, and neither does Russia. So people have to take it to the basics, like why is Iran such the boogeyman? Because the Rothschilds want to control everything. Scumbags.
Yeah.
So give this guy a chance, okay? You keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So he understands the Jewish banking cartel and all that. He built buildings. And so I just say give him a year at least before you can even determine if he's going in the right direction.
I'm trouble when he's bombing Yemen and giving Bibi the goods to slaughter the Palestinians. I don't like that, John. And he seemed to be fumbling in relation to Ukraine. You know, I mean, this is supposed to be a strong suit. He was going to be the peace president. He was going to end these stupid wars. He's not ending them. He's making them worse. I'm sorry.
I'm all for that. I agree. I don't agree with any of that scum stuff. The Vietnam War was a freaking war for the bauxite mines. It had nothing to do with the communists. They just wanted to control these natural resources. So I don't agree with any of that at all.
Yeah.
And according and as far as Trump, as far as Trump into COVID, Dr. David Martin will tell you that he was coerced into that. Dr. David Martin, check it out and see that. All right, God bless.
John. Thanks, John. Bye-bye. I'm sorry I didn't get you on. I promise tomorrow I'll get you on earlier. Meanwhile, everyone's spending much time with your family, your friends, the people you love and care about because we don't have much time left, it appears. Use them wisely and support RBN. See you tomorrow.